breaking at 5.
3 medical helicopters respond after this 2-car crash outside of Meade.
A live report seconds away.
An acid blast on UNL's campus hurts 2 people and forces an evacuation.
I didn't do that in any sort of intentional way.
An apology from this now former Iowa gubernatorial candidate. Tonight, he's suspending his campaign.
And summit scrapped.
I am waiting.
The words that prompted the decision from the president.
Live from Omaha's news leader, KETV NewsWatch 7 at 5 starts with breaking news.
A bad crash in Saunders County with 3 medical helicopters flying to the scene.
This happened just north of Meade on Highway 77. KETV NewsWatch 7's Taylor Barth live with what we know. Taylor?
That scene likely clear now. The Saunders County Sheriff's Office tells me they plan to reopen Highway 77 just 30 minutes ago, around 4:30. But this is what it looked like when we arrived. The Saunders County Sheriff's Office says a head-on collision involving 2 vehicles sent 3 people to the hospital. 3 medical helicopters responded, and the Saunders County Sheriff's Office says a male driver was northbound on Highway 77 when he crossed the center line, hitting a man and a woman in a car heading southbound.
Unknown status of the injuries, critical enough that they had to be airlifted.
Meade, Wahoo, and Utan fire and rescue crews also responded to the scene. Deputies rerouted traffic onto county roads, closing about a mile stretch of Highway 77. Again, that should be reopened at this time, but the Saunders County Sheriff's Office is still investigating what caused that driver to cross the center line. We'll continue to keep you updated as we learn more. Reporting live in Meade, Taylor Barth, KETV NewsWatch 7.
All right, Taylor, thank you. Another crash here in Omaha sends 4 people to the hospital. This is video just in from 52nd and Ames. You see the car flipped on its side there. We're told all the victims have serious injuries.
We have more breaking news. An acid explosion on UNL's campus. 2 people are hurt.
Investigators think some leftover acid from experiments had a bad reaction. KETV NewsWatch 7's Michelle Bandur just got details. She's live for us in Lincoln. Michelle.
David and Melissa, Jorgensen Hall is still evacuated after an explosion in a second-floor lab just after 3 o'clock this afternoon. The university says an acid solution ruptured, injuring 2 students, one a 22-year-old, the other 19. One has cuts to the face, the other suffered inhalation burns. Both, we're told, are going to be okay. Lincoln Fire sent in crews in decontamination suits to investigate. No word on what caused this experiment to go wrong, but most of the acid that exploded was nitric acid, we're told, which can be dangerous in large concentrations.
In this case, in the room there is some 80%, which is a fairly strong acid. It can do some serious damage to your skin, and it will become a respiratory hazard. It can damage your respiratory system. So there's a lot of potential for some health hazard there.
First responders say the students did everything right, rinsing themselves and taking off their clothes and rinsing themselves thoroughly. And again, because of that, they will be okay. Now, the university tells me crews are trying to figure out exactly how they're going to clean up the mess. They say the damage was just isolated to that one lab. Reporting live in Lincoln, Michelle Bandur, KETV NewsWatch 7.
Michelle, thanks. Developing tonight, the largest fentanyl bust in Nebraska history and one of the biggest ever in the U.S. This morning, we learned the drug seized in this traffic stop last month was all fentanyl. 118 pounds worth $20 million and so deadly it could have killed every person in Nebraska and Iowa.
The work that our Nebraska state troopers are doing are absolutely saving lives. That when you take that much fentanyl off the street, you are saving lives.
Governor Pete Ricketts also commended troopers who took 1,800 pounds of pot off the streets. Here's a look at that bust. That's $5 million worth of marijuana. Troopers found it during a traffic stop in April in Fillmore County. The motorcyclist who got hurt in this crash on 42nd Street told police he smoked 2 to 3 bowls of meth an hour before he got on that bike. That man says his motorcycle throttle got stuck, causing him to slam into another car so hard his bike split in half. Officers say his helmet saved his life.
Well, right now, this Iowa Democrats' campaign for governor is over. State Senator Nate Bolton's announcement this morning came hours after 3 women accused him of inappropriately touching them. 2 claim that the harassment happened in bars 16 years ago. Another assault claim was just 3 years ago. Today, Bolton talked to our Des Moines sister station, KCCI. He says he did not mean to intentionally hurt anyone.
What do you recollect?
It does not matter.
Why not?
Because it's not about me. It is about what the experience was for any individual, and it is devastating to me that anything that I said or did crossed that line.
Bolton has not made a decision whether or not he's going to step down from the Senate seat. He says he will support the party's nominee. Well, right now, that bombshell announcement from President Trump.
The high-stakes nuclear summit planned with North Korea is off. U.S. ally South Korea says it didn't get any warning about Trump's announcement. Here at home, Nebraska Senator Ben Sasse says the president made the right call, adding, if North Korea wants diplomacy, it should know the half measures and spin about its nuclear program won't cut it.
Our Washington Bureau is tracking this story. Here's KETV NewsWatch 7's Sally Kidd.
I believe that this is a tremendous setback for North Korea.
President Trump calling off his historic summit with Kim Jong-un. In a letter to Kim, he cited tremendous anger and open hostility by the North as the reason for the cancellation. A ministry official had called Vice President Mike Pence a political dummy who made ignorant and stupid remarks. The statement also threatened a nuclear showdown if the talks didn't happen.
Our military, which is by far the most powerful anywhere in the world, is ready if necessary.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says the North Koreans were refusing to return phone calls and had skipped a high-level planning meeting.
I think the American team's fully prepared. I think we're rocking. I think we're ready.
Democrats in Congress blasting the president as unprepared.
This is a direct failure of the administration.
The president making the move just hours after North Korea announced it had destroyed a key nuclear site.
This demolition actually could be a hindrance to denuclearization in the sense that this site offered a lot of evidence in terms of what the North Koreans are capable of.
President Trump left open the possibility of talks in the future if Kim engages in constructive dialogue.
I am waiting.
So what happens next? Well, Secretary Pompeo says it's situation normal and the maximum pressure campaign continues. In Washington, Sally Kidd, KETV NewsWatch 7.
And coming up, ABC World News Tonight has more reaction on today's decision. It's coming up at 5:30.
Nebraska's longest-serving death row inmate wants to die. Kerry Dean Moore today had his attorneys file a motion saying Moore no longer wants legal representation and he does not wish to fight his execution. Nebraska's Attorney General is waiting for the state Supreme Court to grant that death warrant. Crime Stoppers coverage now. Officers used stop sticks and a police canine to arrest this guy during a morning chase. Started in Council Bluffs and ended here at 14th in California. Investigators say 40-year-old Robert Eady III and his passenger, 24-year-old Cody Doss, threw a BB gun from the car during that pursuit. Both now face several charges.
Well, Omaha police identified the man who they say cut a guy in the old market last night. Officers say 25-year-old Dante Harris got into a fight with two people at Blue Sushi around 8 o'clock. He pulled a knife out, according to police, and cut a 22-year-old. Harris is now in jail. The victim should be okay. Well, this morning, 3 people were hurt in a crash at 90th and Highway 370. One of the cars actually caught fire right after the crash. Look at the debris just seconds after it happened. Traffic was shut down during the cleanup. No word who is at fault.
We go live outside right now. Live look at Bayless Park there in downtown Council Bluffs. Another hot afternoon. It would be great to play in that water, right?
Right.
The heat is here to stay.
Yeah, Bill is live with the upfront forecast. Bill?
Yeah, don't get in that fountain, David, Melissa. That's not safe. Hey, we do have warm temperatures. You're right. Here's a look at downtown Omaha. The view from the Embassy Suites on 10th Street. Current sky cover mostly cloudy. Temperature 88 at Epley, Airfield 86 in Plattsmouth, Nebraska City. One little shower around Red Oak in the last hour. Maybe a little rumble of thunder in there. We've had some mid and high level clouds come across the metro, which probably keep the showers just off to the east of us here for the evening. But later on tonight, a 40% chance of rain. Low 90s again tomorrow, mid 90s this weekend by 7 day a bit later.
All right, Bill, thank you. Day 2 of the Nebraska State Patrol's effort to get unsafe commercial vehicles off the road.
Today's checks aimed at smaller commercial drivers who never go to the interstate. They stopped 74 vehicles and found 339 violations. KETV NewsWatch 7's Alexander Stone has this story.
Forward.
Another day, another compliance check. The NSP out in force checking the safety of small commercial vehicles.
So if they're out making money, they're subject to FMCSA rules.
FMSCA is short for the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. Wednesday, the patrol found 261 violations, not all safety related.
We had vehicles that were not qualified to be on the road. In fact, we even had one company that had been put out of service.
Out of service means the company should not be operating any commercial vehicles. The problem, that truck was displaying a DOT number that was not valid because the owner had never completed the registration back in 2015. But these checks are not all about writing tickets.
We try to use this environment for learning as much as enforcement.
The patrol hands out guidebooks to help, laying out the responsibilities of both the companies and the drivers.
And so the driver that gets in this vehicle, any of these vehicles behind me, is responsible to do a walk-around inspection, make sure that things look like they're safe.
The ultimate goal of these checks is safety.
I get a lot of satisfaction out of that, knowing that, we're here for the good of the people and the good of the community.
Reporting in Omaha, Alexandra Stone, KETV NewsWatch 7.
Iowa's move over law is getting tougher. Starting July 1st, drivers will have to get to the other lane or slow down for any passenger car or truck on the side of the road. Previously, the only included vehicles were emergency vehicles. It's a $100 fine if you don't obey.
We have an update now to a deadly crash south of Modale, Iowa. We know 2 people hurt in that crash, still recovering at an Omaha hospital tonight. Scott and Deborah Davey were hit head-on by 74-year-old Marie Bryan as she tried to pass a semi. Bryan died at the scene. Back in Omaha, fire investigators think a squatter may have been inside this house that caught fire this morning. It happened around 7 o'clock at 29th and Poppleton. The cause still under investigation.
More news to come at 5, including the one stop you can make online to see everything about the candidates before casting your ballot. Plus, the hurricane season of 2017 was a disaster. Now, scientists predict 2018 might not be as violent.
Take a live look outside at our weather right now and our traffic. 90th and West Dodge. Got some heat to deal with. Bill is bringing more in his forecast when KETV NewsWatch 7 at 5 continues.